joiner is used to straighten the edge of the board and also make it 90 degrees to the face that's going to touch the fence here. It's important that the board has a minimum length of 10 inches. So you can see I have more than 10 inches here. This board is higher than the height of the fence, so I will not use the push stick for this cut. It's going to remove material by this set of knives here. There's 3 of those on there. The top of the knife is even with the outfeed table. The infeed table is set 1/16 below this, so there's no need for a student adjustment on this machine. You're just going to come up, turn it on, and it's ready to go. But you may need to use the push stick if the height of your board is less than the height of the fence. I'm going to turn on the dust collection, so I'm going to open up the dust port, turn on the dust collection. Take my finger, keep it tight against the fence. What we don't want is this, tight against the fence. 5 inches back from the cutter. Left hand comes around, walk it through. There are 2 red lines on here. Those red lines get you 5 inches away from the cutter in either direction. It's important that the left hand never passes directly over the cutter head. So your left hand is pressing tight against the fence here. Again, we don't want this to pull away. We want it nice and tight. You want to keep that knuckle behind the red line. Okay, so you're using kind of the side of your finger when you do this. You're pushing through. Notice the position of my right hand. I'm not hooking my thumb underneath. If my thumb goes underneath, when I get here, I'm less than 5 inches away from the cutter head. So when I hold this board, I'm holding like this, finger up on top for control, just like that. Left hand against, going through at this point, my left hand pops around over to here. Notice I'm moving my body position so that I'm not overextended. I get to this point and I push it on through. So this board meets the minimum length of 10 inches, but it is not above the height of the fence, so I'm going to need to use the push stick for this. With a long board, you might start back here pushing the board. When you get up to here, you're going to start. You want to make sure that the push stick is directly on top. You want to make sure that it does not get snagged on the end of the fence here. So my left hand will do the same operation, this side of my finger against the board, keeping that as tight as possible, and my right hand is using the push stick. That way I have that 5-inch safety margin away. Okay, so I will turn on dust collection, turn the machine on, left hand again, 5 inches back, pop the left hand around, walk it through. One of the things that's going to give you a cleaner cut is to take a look at the grain direction. So the grain is running downhill in this direction. If I run it this way, I'm going to be fighting against the grain, and these fibers will tend to tear out, especially towards the back end. So you want your grain running uphill at the start of the joiner. That's going to give you a much cleaner cut. Another note about grain is we are only running along the edge of the board. You never run the end grain of the board. The end grain is not supported. So I'm going to run a test cut so you can kind of see what happens if you would mistakenly run a piece of end grain. So this would be a very dangerous operation. Notice the cut is not clean. Anytime we're doing end grain, we're sawing that at the radial arm saw or miter saw. We can see I also got some tear out here, so it's very important that you never run with the grain going up and down. Okay, we always run grain along the grain.